Hi everyone, John here from the Aotearoa Ultra Marathon and CJM'S events. Welcome to the Aotearoa Ultra Marathon. We want to make sure that everyone knows and understands what's happening on race day, being Saturday the 10th of January. If you haven't entered yet, it's still not too late. Go to aotearoaultra.co.nz and enter. At the time of recording, there were still a few spots available. So the Aotearoa Ultra Marathon consists of 3 events on the day: the 101 km, the 53k, and the 15k. Now, the 101k Ultra starts at Little River Domain just outside the fire station on Western Valley Road. We recommend anyone driving over to go up the Domain driveway by the fire station and park up by the toilets. The start is at 5 a.m. and the race briefing will be at 4:50 just prior to the start. We request that everyone be on the start line at 4:50, ready and prepared for the start. The start will be at 5 a.m. sharp. The 53 Ultra, this starts on Wharf Road at the intersection of Pigeon Bay Road. The start will be just before the bridge. We recommend anyone driving over to park along the Wharf Road after they've gone over the bridge. There is a camping ground along Wharf Road. Please do not go down and park in the camping ground. The start will be at 8 a.m. and the race briefing will be at 7:50 just prior to the start. We request that everyone be on the start line at 7:50, ready and prepared for the start. The start will be at 8 a.m. sharp. 15k. This is at the top of Gibby's Pass. Competitors on the bus will be dropped off at the top of the pass, and if you can then move across the cattle stops, and the race briefing will be at 10:50, and the start will be at 11 a.m. on the Summit Road. There is limited parking at the top of the pass and some parking over the cattle stops. It may be better to park further down from the top of Gibby's Pass and walk up to the top for the start. Most runners will be on the bus. The start there is at 11 a.m. sharp. The race pack pickup for registration, this will be at Hallsville Quarry at the finish line at 12 noon until 3 p.m. on Friday the 9th of January. That's the day before. Your race pack will have your number, race information, the t-shirt, and reflective bands for the 101k and the 53k participants. Please make sure that your race number is on the outside of your clothing, not underneath another layer of clothing or anything like that during the event. At race registration, we'll need to see your compulsory gear for sign-off. These will be spot checked, but generally we get to see all the gear to make sure everyone's got everything that is needed. The weather. Now, historically, the event, the peak temperatures have ranged between 24 and 29 degrees. We've had cool mornings with temperatures as low as 6 degrees and even temperatures around 10 degrees. In one year, it was 25 degrees at 10 p.m, so it can still be pretty warm and humid. We did get a shower of rain one year, and be prepared for the northeasterly winds. Last year, the winds over Mount Herbert were very strong and cold, and the humidity levels can be up to 60 to 70%. So be prepared because things can change very quickly. The following compulsory gear is required for both the 53 km and the 101 km. It's a headlamp with spare batteries, long sleeve top, wool and polypropylene, thermal hat, thermal gloves, waterproof jacket, seam sealed with a hood. Now you need to make sure this is seam sealed. Survival blanket or survival bag, mobile phone charged in a waterproof container bag, and please put my number in it as race director, and that is the number is 027 226 7769. Reflective gear, you will have 2 slap bands in your race pack, and that is suffice for that for reflective gear, but any extras reflective gear is a positive for the event, especially if many runners could be running on Summit Road late on Saturday evening, and you need to make sure you are very visible and able to be seen. 15 kilometre have no compulsory gear. Okay, so we don't need any gear checks for you on that. Excuse me. The following timetable for buses, and the timetables for when the buses leave each destination. It's not when the bus will turn up, it is when it leaves. If for any reason the bus is delayed in getting to the start, we will delay the start until it arrives, and cut-off times will be amended accordingly. Now the city centre bus exchange, that is at 3:40, Hallsville Quarry at 4 o'clock. Sorry, this is for the 101k. And at Hallsville Quarry at 4 a.m. it will be on Kennedy's Bush Road. That's just before the entrance that you go into Hallsville Quarry. The gates will be still closed at that time, so it's best you need to park your vehicles out on the road. There are some parking bays at the front entrance of Hallsville Quarry, and the bus should be and will be at Little River in time for the race briefing at 4:50. On calculations, the bus should be there between 4:35 and 4:40, leaving adequate time. 53k, the city centre bus exchange will be leaving at 6 a.m. Hallsville Quarry will be at 6:20 a.m. and Pigeon Bay will be there well and truly for your 7:50 a.m. start. The 15k, Hallsville be at Hallsville Quarry at 10 a.m. and it will be easily there in time for the race briefing at 10:50 at Gibbs Pass. Can the 101k and 53 competitors please email Carol at CJM'S and advise which destination you're picking up, you're looking to be picked up from, so then we know who's going to be where, and throughout the whole day for everyone's safety and make sure everyone gets to the start and then gets to the finish. The start check-off, we'll be checking off all competitors at the starts, and we will require you to be checked off before you start. We need to make sure we know exactly who is on the trail for you, for when you're out there, whereabouts you are, and that adds different feed stations. You'll be asked your number. If the marshals have difficulty seeing your numbers for these checkpoints, and when asked for your number, please make sure you give it to them quickly and responsibly. The run, the course will be marked with red arrows on signposts and pink paint on the ground, and over Mount Herber with orange waratahs. The 101k Ultra, as we stated earlier, starting at Little River, and runners will start outside the Little River Domain by the fire station on Western Valley Road. There will be, you will run up Western Valley Road to the Port Levy Saddle, or Spur as it's also known as. Continue down Western Valley Road to Port Levy. The old Port Levy School will be the first feed station for you. On the way up and down Western Valley Road, be careful as the road is very rough and narrow in places. No support vehicles are to go up this road at all on either side of Western Valley Road. When you get to Port Levy, you will run along the beachfront until you get to the Port Levy Pigeon Bay Road, where you will turn right onto this. No support vehicles are to go up here either. We don't want anyone else on these roads at all. Basically for the runners, enjoy the climb. This is very narrow in places with some great outstanding views of both Port Levy and Pigeon Bay. You may not see any vehicles on this piece of road other than the race directors might coming up and through. You may have some oncoming runners, and these will be 53k runners, which will be starting at 8 a.m. One year we did have a number of sheep out on the road. The farmer had some of them grazing by the side of the road, so hopefully we don't have this again, but just be prepared for anything. You are in a pretty remote rural area with sheep could be coming through fences or anything like that. Shouldn't be any bulls though, so just the sheep. When you get to Pigeon Bay, there will be a feed station, and this also is a bag drop location. This will be located at the start point of the 53k. Some runners may get to this point before the start of the 53. No one has yet, but potentially you could. You will then run away from Pigeon Bay, where you on the tar seal, you leave Pigeon Bay, tar seal, and head towards, if you're going towards Aotearoa. You go down Pigeon Bay Road to Middle Road and take the angled right there, and as you go up Middle Road, we're requesting again that no support vehicles go up Middle Road or Pettigrews Road. These are four-wheel drive roads only, and very steep, and I mean very steep and narrow. If you have a support person, they can see you at the feed station at Pigeon Bay, or they could see you at the top of Middle Road, but do not drive up or down that road. You can go up and down the Pigeon Bay tar sealed road, but do not go down up or down Middle Road or Pettigrews Road. When you get to the top of Middle Road, you take a right and run along Summit Road to Pettigrews Road. It's approximately 300 metres. Only Pettigrews Road, along Pettigrews Road, look out for the farmers there. There are a number of sort of holiday homes, batches and that down through that part there, and also the farmers' properties as well. So you go back to Pigeon Bay Road, down Pettigrews, take a left and run back to Pigeon Bay. When running along the Summit Road and Pigeon Bay roads, you will run towards the traffic. Don't run with the traffic, you run towards the traffic. There won't be a lot of traffic, but you run towards it. I again reiterate that runners are to be especially careful on both the Summit and Pigeon Bay roads, and always run towards the traffic on both the Middle and Pettigrews roads. These are the four-wheel drive roads and very steep, as we just stated earlier. When you arrive at Pigeon Bay, you will have another feed station. The toilet and your bag drop will still be there from earlier. The rest of the run is the 53k route, which is referred to next. So instead of going through the whole 101k, we'll now move on so the 53k runners can clarify where they are. So 53k starts at Pigeon Bay by the one-lane bridge. You will run along Holmes Bay Road, which changes to Port Levy Pigeon Bay Road, 2.5k from Pigeon Bay. So the first 2.5k you're actually on Holmes Bay Road, and then it changes to Port Levy Pigeon Bay Road. There is a road on your left when the name changes. Do not go down that road. This is where the name changes there. But if you do take that first left, you'll be very disappointed when you reach it. There's a dead end, and it's about 5k, so you'll do an extra 10k and go, where am I going to now? So don't do that. So just continue on the road. There will be arrows marking that for you. Port Levy Pigeon Bay Road is very narrow. It's basically the narrowest part of the whole run. No support vehicles again are to be on this road. It is difficult for vehicles to pass at any time, and everyone has to we have to be very careful, and again with the runners, that we make sure if there is a vehicle on there that the runners can get past as you go through there. You will meet the 101k ultra runners, the 53k runners will, and vice versa as you go through there. In places there are no fences on the cliff sides of the roads. Watch your pace as you descend some of the climbs towards Port Levy, and when you're doing the downhill into there, they are very steep, and you need to make sure you've got your footing right. When you reach Port Levy, you take the left onto Parr Road, and you have a downhill. Just look for vehicles there. There are a lot of campers this time of year that do go over to Port Levy, so look out for vehicles there. Continue through to the Port Levy Road. When you get to St Paul's Church, continue straight ahead on the Shinwell Road. Do not go right towards Diamond Harbour. There will be a feed station just past the St Paul's Church. That's at the old Port Levy School. And 101k runners will know that one because they would have seen it earlier in the day. You then run up Western Valley Road, recommended only for four-wheel drive vehicles, and this leads you to Port Levy, that's that old spur. It is 14k uphill to the spur for your next feed station. From Port Levy spur, you will then run up and over Mount Herbert. The trail will be marked at intersections with pink paint, with arrows pointing you on the ground. When you reach the summit of Mount Herbert, you will run to the Packhorse Hut and on to Gibby's Pass. The trail will be marked with, as I said, pink paint at the intersections. There are orange waratahs, and there are dock signs. So what you're basically doing when you leave the Port Levy Spur, you're running to Mount Herbert, to Packhorse Hut, to Gibby's Pass. Those are the key points you need to do. If you see any, there are other signs that are out there, and some of them could be saying to go to Diamond Harbour, to Autumn Bradley Park. Those you do not go to. So all you're focusing on is going to Mount Herbert, Packhorse Hut, and Gibby's Pass. So if you can even write it on your hand if you need to. Last year we had 2 runners. One was heading off to Autumn Bradley Park, and the others, when they got to the Packhorse Hut, they climbed over the fence and went left and ended up down at another hut as well, where still not quite sure how that happened, but they did that. Their orientation wasn't too good, and they ended up way off course and had to be picked up and brought back to the finish. So quite simply, all the runners, as I said earlier, that you go to from the Spur, you go to Mount Herbert, Packhorse Hut, to Gibby's Pass. Okay, right. Where are we up to? Mount Herbert, Packhorse Hut, Gibby's Pass. Yeah, Doc and CC signs will show this throughout the whole run. You will come across some cattle at the top of Mount Herbert. Don't be scared of them. They're probably scared of you as much as what you would be of them. They're not bulls, so you'll have nothing to fear. Just watch your step, because there could be a few paddies here, there, and everywhere. They're not eating paddies either. When you reach Gibby's Pass, there will be another feed station and toilet. You cross the road to the Summit Road. Normal road rules apply. Give way to the traffic. While there are speed restrictions, reducing the speeds to 30k to allow you to have better judgment as you cross. But cross the road, be careful, look both ways, and cross when it is clear. Then you will cross the road and then run along Summit Road, and the rest of the run is the 15k route as follows. So the 15k will start on Summit Road over the cattle stops. All runners during their run and before it need to be careful on the cattle stops. Running along the Summit Road for 10k, you'll come to several cattle stops on the road. Be careful of these. Some you can cross beside them. There's enough room to walk across them as you get to them. If you don't want to sort of step, but be very careful as you go across those. Don't want to slip and break an ankle through those. So the Summit Road for the first 5 to 6k is nicknamed the Bastard by cyclists. I do not think that there will be an issue for the 101 and the 53k, because what you would have faced before that will be more significant in elevation than what that is. After what you will have basically experienced through there. So the 15k runners may think it is pretty tough though. It's never ending. You go around one bend and then you go around the next one, you go around the next one and the next one. They just all look the same. When you reach Kennedy's Bush Track, there will be a feed station and toilet. This is approximately 10k from Gibby's Pass, and you will descend down Kennedy Bush Track approximately 4 kilometres to the gate by the subdivision. You will go through the gate and continue down Kennedy's Bush Road, not go into the Crocodile mountain bike track. Continue down the footpath on Kennedy's Bush Road to the entrance to Hallsville Quarry. This is a small gate, and you go through it, and it will be marked, and you will then follow the pink arrows on the ground through the paddock. There'll be cones there as well. It is quite steep as you go down there, and there'll be red arrows on pegs until you come to the Hallsville Quarry. Look out, and then you'll go through the gate there, follow the track to your right until you meet the cones, and they'll lead you through to the finish. Remember, you should smile as you come across the finish line. Okay, feed stations. Throughout the event, there'll be feed stations for you. These will have water and R-line electrolyte drinks. There'll be Coke, bananas, jet planes, lollies, and chips. There'll be some flavours. There'll be some salt and vinegar chips, some plain chips, and there could even be some chicken chips as well, just to mix up the variety if you're looking for something else to eat on that. We have had sandwiches historically through there, and they haven't been eaten. I think we had 2 eaten one year. That was basically about it, and so we've basically pulled those, and people can have food put into drop bags, and we will take those as well to you. And if you've got support people and people can drive to those locations, they can also feed you as well. If you're looking for a drop bag, we will have bags available to be purchased at race pack pickup. We have 5 litre, 10 litre and 20 litre bags available for purchase there. So if you've got something and you want to put into it, you can do that. Do not put any frozen items into them. This includes ice as well, because it melts, excuse me, it leaks, and it can go into other people's gear. One year we had to dry out someone else's singlets and socks for them because someone else put ice in a bag when it wasn't even, it still leaked through, and there would be nothing worse than that person looking for a dry pair of socks or a clean pair of socks to put on, and they were wet. So we had them on our clothesline beforehand, because when we're putting the gear into the bags to take to the drop stations, we found that ones were wet, and that's what had happened. So please do not any frozen items in them or ice. So the feed stations will be at Port Levy School, which is 17 kilometres. The Pigeon Bay for 31 kilometres. Pigeon Bay again is 41 kilometres. If you have any drop bags, it is 1 bag for that location. So Pigeon Bay is only 1 bag. You don't need to have 2 bags that have them separated. Port Levy School is at 61k. You can actually have 1 bag for that as well. For the first one it's 17 and then 61. So that 61k marker for the 101k's at Port Levy School. That will be 13k's for the 53k runners. The Port Levy Spur car park is 70k's for the 101k and 22k for the 22k for the 53k. Gibby's Pass is 38k for 86k for the 101 and 38 for the 53, and Kennedy's Bush is no drop feed station. There will be a feed station there, but we won't utilise that as a drop bag. Okay, so support people can feed you at all of those feed stations as well. We request though that support people do not follow the runners in vehicles, especially on those roads which we've said do not go on those. To get to those ones you need to go around the roads, like so if you're going from Pigeon Bay and you want to feed somebody at the Spur, you need to go around to the little river and then come up the road. Okay, so if you are a support person, you must get to those destinations via those other routes and use Google Maps to do so. Support runners or pacers, there is a couple of you doing those. These people have to be registered. You just can't jump in and run along with somebody. These runners can only do the route from Port Levy Spur to the finish. So they've actually got 31k's. It's quite a big run. So they need to be able to do that. Do 31k's. It's not just like jumping in and doing a portion. We have it set so you can have a support runner going with you across Mount Herbert. They cannot run elsewhere on the route, otherwise you will be disqualified. Support runners are to access at Port Levy Spur. They will get to there by coming from Little River. The road is up to the Spur, gets very narrow, and it is steep in places. So we've got checkpoints. We will be checking competitors at key locations which have cut-off times. If asked for your number, please tell the marshal accordingly. These numbers are forwarded to the race HQ so we know where every runner is. If you do not make one of these times, you will be withdrawn from the event and you will have to get into the tail end vehicle. We don't want any arguments, as this is for everyone's safety. No runners will be left on the course to finish outside of the cut-off times. If it is obvious you won't make the cut-off, you may be instructed to get into the tail end vehicle before reaching that checkpoint. So the cut-off times are Summit Road, Middle Road corner is 12 noon. So you need to be, the 101k runners need to be up on at the top of Middle Road by then. Pigeon Bay is 2 o'clock, which is pretty generous, 2 hours from there, but yeah, it's really that Middle Road is the cut-off, but they've got 2 o'clock to Pigeon Bay, 6 p.m. to Port Levy Spur. Gibby's Pass is 9 o'clock, and Horsell Quarry is midnight. We will have a tail end Charlie behind the last runner in a vehicle, and a runner will follow you across Mount Herbert from Port Levy Spur to Gibby's Pass. Toilets, there are toilets throughout the run. If you have to go to the toilet during the run where there is no toilet, you have to bring this back with you to the next one, put in the next portaloo. Please refer the poo bag on the website. We don't want to see it. Don't bring it back to us at the finish. Dispose of it accordingly. Toilet locations with 101k start at Little River and the Domain, Port Levy Spur, Port Levy School. There will be changing rooms there, and you can from the swimming pool, and you can get toilets there. Pigeon Bay, there's a Portaloo. Port Levy, again, that's in the changing rooms of the swimming pool from the school. Port Levy Spur, Portaloo, Packhorse Hut. Just before the hut, there's a toilet there. It gets pretty hot and steamy in there. There's some pretty big mosquitoes as well. So if you're really desperate, jump into that one. Gibby's Pass Feed Station, there'll be a Portaloo. Summit Road, Kennedy's Bush Track, Feed Station, Portaloo, and finish at the public toilets the public toilets there. We will be putting on Gibby's Pass, that is for the Aotearoa Ultra competitors. One year we had the general public using this toilet. They thought it was fantastic. They believed that the council had put a Portaloo in for them, and they were using it, and basically luckily we took further toilet paper to put in there to make sure there was something there for our runners, because the general public used it. Clothing at the start. If you want clothing taken to the finish from the start, this is to be put into a bag and labelled with your name, event and race number, and we'll take it to the finish. Please only do clothing. Do not put food or anything like that in it, and do not leave anything in the bus, as this will not be going back to the finish line. So if you need anything taken back, make sure you give it to me at that time. Prize giving. Prize giving will be held at the Horsell Quarry on Sunday at 10 a.m. Prize giving starts strictly at 10 a.m. There'll be coffee and light foods there at the Quarry Cafe. There are category prizes and spot prizes. To be eligible for both of these, you have to be present to receive them. So if you got first, second, or third, make sure you're there. The age groups and that will be split due to the number of competitors, and we'll look at that on the day as well. So t-shirts, if you've pre-ordered a finishers t-shirt, this will be in your race pack when you pick that up with your race pack on the Friday. If you have not pre-ordered one, we do have some available, and you can purchase on the day or when you pick up your race pack. If Pulse and Cash is available, we also have eco-friendly silicone drink bottles, 500 mils, and cups. Not a lot of those, but we do have some there. We've got further reflective slap bands, and as I said earlier, the 5, 10, and 20k drop bags, race belts, and bib dots as well that can hold your numbers on. Health and well-being and your ability. We ask again, basically, that you have entered the correct event to your capabilities, are fit enough with the capabilities to complete the distance, and you have entered in and can complete it sufficiently. We emphasize this, for your health and safety and your well-being. Plus, we ask that if you come across an injured runner during the event, please stop and help. Look after your own safety while attending to them. Call myself on 027 226 7769. There is now coverage throughout the whole run. If for some reason there is no coverage, have a runner move on to get coverage so we can get information to the medics to get to them. A Tolling Charlie vehicles, as said earlier, will follow the last runner, and over Mount Herbert there will be a runner going with the last person. We will have a first response vehicle on course at specific locations and ambulance at the finish line. If you have had any shortness of breath or heart palpitations in the last few weeks, we ask that you seek medical advice prior to taking part in the event. COVID-19, if you've got symptoms of COVID or tested positive in the last 7 days, or a household member is tested positive, we ask that you do not participate in the event. If a support person or spectator has any of the above, we also ask that you do not attend. Basically, enjoy. Please make sure you understand everything that is happening on Saturday the 10th and the 9th for Race Pack Up, and we sincerely hope that you enjoy the Aotearoa Ultra Marathon for 2026. Any other questions that you may have, do not hesitate to send us an email or ask us on Friday. So hopefully that covers everything for you, and we look forward to catching up with you on Friday the 9th, the race pick up, Saturday for the run, and prize giving on the Sunday. Okay, take care everyone, and see you on the start line. Cheers.